Hello.
Oh, there too. Everybody on the Facebook and YouTube world.
Hi.
Tuning in now that I know Dude's Place here in City Mines to hang out with me and Billie Yvette or Yvette or Vet. What many names.
Many names.
Names.
Been called a few things, yeah.
And Billie Yvette is where you're at now. Yeah.
Billie Yvette was the name I had the longest.
The longest one. You were talking about rebranding it, changing it all over.
No, because, well, yeah, I'm thinking about just going by Yvette because I've gone by Yvette. Even though my full name is Billie Yvette, I've gone by Yvette my whole life. It was a matter of Billie Jean and call me Gina, or Billie Yvette and call me Yvette, and Mom let my sister choose, and she chose Billie Yvette, named Billy after my dad, Bill. And anyway, but everybody calls me Yvette. So I may rebrand the artist page so that I'm called Yvette. Who knows? Stay tuned.
You have all kinds of personalities.
Well, yeah, I could. It's true. I could do one for every angle.
It's like Steph Banaka. I had her here on the show too, so she's got all kinds of bands and things
Yeah.
that she goes by. So.
Yeah, various hats.
Yes. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You jumped on the virtual audition that I put up there. It said,
Yes.
"Anybody wants to come on, come on." And
Yeah, I certainly did.
it was funny because I told you I was talking to Mike Loliev
Yeah.
about doing other things, and then we ended up doing the show last week. And as I was like, "Okay, you're on this week," I was gonna find someone who actually can do like message me, and I was like, "What a coincidence that I got Mike and then Yvette."
Yeah.
Back to back. You guys are longtime friends.
Mike taught me how to play the guitar, actually. My first guitar lesson was from Mike Liliev. Yeah. And yeah, old pals.
Those that don't know, last week's guest was Mike Loliev. Mike's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Has taught a lot of people how to play the guitar.
Yes, and still does. Yeah. And you can still watch that, can't you, on your page, Mike's show? Yeah.
It's ever ending with I'll make the reference right away to House of Rock. 'Cause we
Yes.
talked about that last week too, and it's when
Yes.
you walked in with the
Sporting the
rocking the House of Rock.
House of Rock mask that Krista made. Yeah.
And you, like I said to Mike last week, many of the people went through those doors.
Yes.
Many of the songs were written behind those doors.
Yes.
Much
Yes.
foolishness happened
Lots of shenanigans.
through those doors.
Yeah, it's true. And I came about the House of Rock probably mid-20s. And what that was a nickname for a friend's place. So a number of friends lived there, and it ended up kind of being a bit of a creative hive as well. For those that don't know the house, for those that do, I'm telling old tales, and you'll already know this, but and those that lived there would obviously have a different perspective than I would, as someone who would just kind of crash in the door. But I took my guitar lessons there, and then landed there after Chandler's a few times. I worked at Chandler's, and then we'd go back to the House of Rock often and play music. But folks who worked for What's Going On magazine, and then there was
Dave Mahalik. Shout out
Dave Mahalik. Shout out to Dave. It was Dave's partner, Krista, who made this mask.
Dave's actually phenomenal at making sure that this gets shared on what's going on.
Yes, and what's going on is still going on. So if you ever want to know what's going on, you go what'sgoingon.ca and you will
the
find
man
out.
behind that is Dave Mahalik.
Yeah, and so he lived there, Mike Liliev, as you mentioned, and so it was like Rock Ranger, Slow Coaster, and then, of course, when I think of the House of Rock, I think of the Squatters.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I still see Mike and them wearing the big fedora, or the big sombreros.
Oh, Ian,
Yeah.
Paco,
Yeah.
yeah. Ian Fortran.
So since we're talking about the House of Rock, you played a nice little ditty there before that
Yeah.
if you really listen to the lyrics, you feel like you're sitting
Yes.
inside there.
Let me take you back in time to a little place where I learned how to play the guitar. I miss the place they used to call the House of Rock, where music, it would greet me at the top of the stairs. And People would cram into couches and listen to Hank Williams records and dance with no cares. The lights would go out when the dawn appeared, and homemade wine got passed around. The scent of lilacs and weed and beer, and that old broken organ tramping out humorous sounds. Like-minded folks, good times were had by all, and in those moments there weren't any need for one thing else. No matter what type of day I'd had, it left me the moment I walked through the door. Comfort lived there in the house of no judgment, with its poster-clad walls and its red-bordered floor. That's all right. It was there I learned to open to the world, to music. It was there I began to play. I'm forever grateful all the people that I love. We could slip through time to join each other there. Were there any such a way? Like-minded folks, good times were had by all, and in those moments there weren't any need for one thing else. Thank you.
And there we have it. Like I said, you can just close your eyes and listen.
Close your eyes and walk through the door.
Walk through the doors, yes.
And up the stairs.
Hello, Mr. Vallis. Justin Vallis is
Hi.
out there.
Oh. Where? Oh, out there
That's out
online.
there,
Oh,
out
sorry.
there, yeah.
I thought
Well,
you
yeah,
meant
he's
in the room for a
definitely-
second.
he is
I'm
out
looking at the
there.
computer because there's a monitor here, and then to me, that's where online is, even though that's where the camera is. Don't worry. I'm going to slip between characters all night.
Justin just wanted to point out that he loves your songwriting and your vocals.
What's that?
He said he just loves your songwriting and your vocals. So.
Thank you. Likewise.
And funny enough, Justin Vallis was
Right?
the first song that came on when we were waiting before on the playlist, and it was Wild Hearts, which he sings with Alicia Penny. And Alicia Penny was so gracious to loan you her guitar for tonight.
That's right.
It's funny
Thanks
how those
to-
things just all work together.
Yep. And if you happen to catch any of my things recorded online, the harmonies that you're hearing are Alicia Penny.
Another person that's been in numerous bands and has been
Yes,
around
yeah.
for a while.
A long, long time, yeah.
Way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
Glory days.
Well, back when CB Locals was thriving.
I almost wore my CB Locals hoodie. It was like covered in too much hair. That's the only reason why I didn't.
Most CB Local sweaters were covered in a lot more than just hair. They made it through some shows.
Signs of spring. Signs of spring. Oh,
Yeah.
the horses are shedding.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's what happens.
It does.
I'll take all the warm weather possible. It was. I sat out in the parking lot when I got here, and I was just like, "Yeah, I know Duke's coming, but the window open and the sun's just shining down, and it's
Yeah.
warm, and it's
Super spring-like.
not
It's so
minus
nice.
20 out again. Yeah. Oh, well. So like you
More
said,
songs?
more songs. Yeah. But
Yeah.
we'll, so you've been playing for just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I took guitar lessons from Mike Liliev, as we said already, but that was at age 24, which is just shy of 20 years ago. Yeah, 19 years ago. And I've sang a lot longer than that. Like I sang growing up and stuff, but and I took piano lessons when I was a kid and stuff. And I always had an ear, like, and I've always heard music, but I wanted to learn how to play the guitar to be able to accompany myself for songs that I'd written.
So you were writing songs before you even played the guitar?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And
Kinda, I guess. Like they would just they'd be coming through and I wouldn't necessarily like be able to catch. I don't have any evidence of that, but yes, it was happening.
it started somewhere, right? It started somewhere.
A process of songwriting, I guess you could
So,
call
yeah,
it that.
so you have, like you said, shy of 20 years of
Yes.
songwriting behind you.
Yeah.
We can say that for
Hard
sure.
to believe.
Yeah.
Couple of decades of it.
But that's good because it gives you, you said, oh, I wrote down a couple songs I was going to play tonight. And it's like a piece of paper, this, and it's
Yes.
just sheet, all kind,
Pull this out of my
trusty pocket.
trusty book, but
Yes.
that's where it was.
Which is good. I love when somebody comes on and has all kinds of original music that they've written over the years. It's so great to hear. That's my favorite thing about this is hearing the originals. Anybody can go out and play a cover song and do their own version of it and that, but to come and have a song that you
I do that
wrote.
too. Yeah. But yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate a good songwriter also. And I have to say, like, some of the rooms that I've played over the years, and I mean, from the stuff that I've done, it's been pretty small. I'm small potatoes, guys. Don't be shocked. But, like, you know, around the Maritimes, you know, haven't really toured farther than that. And, like, I've been pretty blessed with, you know, some really great spots like this. Like, this is such a cool gig. Thanks so much for having me on to this. And, you know, those, I got to say, I really appreciate that room, whether I'm on the stage or in the audience, where you can actually get to hear the lyrics to the song and like a little bit behind like why it was written and what it might be about and that kind of thing. So I really enjoy
That
those.
was my one
things.
take back from like the whole COVID, you're not allowed to go out and party kind of thing. But when
Yeah.
the shows started popping up, they were sit down shows. So it's cool just to go and sit down
Yeah.
and listen. And
It's true.
right? And not, you know, be bumping into people. And, I miss it, but at the same time, right? It's great to go into that atmosphere, right? Like Dukes, for example, has live entertainment every weekend, and they're sold out because people want to come see it. I had Andre Petitpas and the Giants at the Fire Hall about a month ago.
Great,
It was
great
so
band.
great, so great to sit down for a rock show and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy
The
it.
grown-up version of
The
the rock
grown-up
show.
version, right?
Yeah.
We're getting old now.
That's nice. You know, yeah. But now the shows are kind of like evolving with us. It's a
Yes,
good thing.
which is good.
You
'Cause
know?
we're usually the ones that coordinate the shows. and
Yeah,
stuff,
that happens, the behind-the-scenes stuff. But
Yeah, and you did a CB Mike Songwriters
I
as
did.
well.
Yeah, I did one in October, I believe it was. And I feel like I did one more recently than that, maybe. But anyway, yeah.
That's what they're back doing. They just had another one just this past weekend. They had another, was it in Bedeck or Bredor? Dylan?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember?
Maybe it was
I
the
don't know.
Bredor Yacht Club.
I think it was
In
the Bredor
Bedeck.
Yacht Club, yeah.
Was that the one with Molly and Danny and Michael Cavanaugh?
Michael Cavanaugh. Coincidentally, who is next week's guest to close out the month of Dukes?
Nice.
Yeah, all right. Well, since we're all talking about songwriting and songs and that, why don't you play people a song that you wrote?
Okay, I'll play a song I wrote about songwriting, since that's the stay on topic and all. Because, and then I'll talk about it a little because, you know, you can. So songwriting for me, I mean, there's lots of times where I'd sit down with a pen and a paper and like write on purpose. And then often other times it's just like I catch 'em. It's like I've got an antenna pulled up in there somewhere in the ether of my aura, and I'm luckily tuned into, you know, Mother Nature radio or whatever the heck it is that happens to give me these inspiring words. So this song is sort of, you know, it also, I kind of caught it, but it shaped it into what it is. If the wind should bring a kind word upon a tune and send them dancing through the autumn leaves, if you should be gracious enough to pause and listen and lend your voice to the messages received, you'd be be making good on a gift that you've been given. You'd be making sense out of things. And if there were a heart of gold to be mined out of it, you wouldn't be the only soul benefiting. If that melody comes rushing through your window and you pick it up to pass it through, if you were gracious enough to pause and listen and lend your hand, your harmony, your view, you'd be making good on a gift that you've been given. You'd be making sense out of things. And if there were a mind of gold at the heart of it, you wouldn't be the only soul benefiting. Thank you.
Great tune.
Thank you.
Great tune. I like it.
Thanks.
It's very flowy. Relaxing.
Like the river of life.
Yes. Very relaxing.
That's what I put on my tweet, on my Twitter feed. It's like, come to Yvette's philosophy class at Duke's. I'll sing about life.
Hey, it works. It's all lyrics.
Yeah.
So aside from, that just floating around and that, what's really gives you the push to write?
Well, honestly, like that's probably the biggest push, is that it's like present. Like I hear the music, or so I have a desire to write more, like compelled, because I've picked it up and I don't know, I can't really describe it. It's just like I'm lucky enough to catch it. I'm compelled to want to send it out into the world, or be that kind of like vessel for it, I guess. So that's really kind of the main motivator for it. But also it's like a way to sort of unpack life. Like it's a way for me to describe how I feel about the world, or how I feel about a certain situation, or maybe my kind of like social commentary, or like, pouring out my diary in some way, or like making sense out of, a situation, or kind of like unwrapping life in some way, or how I see it. So, and I'm super deep, think way too deep into the weeds, I get, with my mind. But, if anywhere that's going to come out in any constructive way, it might as well be through songwriting. So that's sort of where a lot of it comes from.
You can write about life, like you don't.
I do,
You don't
yeah.
have to, you don't have to write about not
No.
taking shots in the ocean, but like boats on the ocean. You don't have
Yeah.
to write songs about that. You
No,
can write
it's
about
true.
Your experience.
You can write about anything, yeah. And different people have different kind of like writing techniques and strategies. But yeah, I tend to lean toward the more like philosophical pen stuff. But
All right. Well, why don't you give us another one?
one of those.
One of those.
This is a song about time. Oh, hello, time, goodbye also. In and out of all the sketchy days of my life, I find time to remind, when needing a gauge to sense this reality. behold time and space. In every instance there's a lesson on living and why we must collect then rewind in coming to reason with how circumstances feel as though they could be weighed. And in living we earnestly seek out a true sense of purpose, a true sense of place. And in reverence we're nourished by knowing the twinkling night sky determines our pace. In and out of all the sketchy days of my life, I drew a map of my mind. I discovered dams in Behavior River, built with what I had to face. In and out of all the waking and relating, I find peace in leaving behind the undone misdoings. I'll keep instead gratitude, forgiveness, and grace. And in living we earnestly seek out a true sense of purpose, a true sense of place. And in reverence we're nourished by knowing the twinkling night sky determines our pace. Hello, time. Goodbye, also. Thank you. Funny, we were talking about Alicia Penny earlier, who usually plays with me, like if we do like duo gigs. So she comes up with the harmonies and stuff, but remembers my songs better than I do. I'll like forget lyrics to shit that I wrote, and like Alicia be like, "No, it's this." I'm like, all right.
Oh, you caught yourself. You're good. You're good.
That's more of a memory thing. If I haven't done it in a while, I'll be like, "Oh right, I haven't played this in like 7 months."
So speaking of Alicia Penny and other females in the cabaret music industry, we were talking about earlier. She just commented on there, but Molly Babin,
yes,
who you just finished doing not that long ago, one of her little projects that she's been working on, highlighting all the females in the area and the industry. So
yeah,
you were just on there, and she's
yeah, it's a great project actually, and it's like keep going. It's wonderful. She's still rolling out with a lot of videos. So for those of you who may not already know this, it's called Open Doors, Women in Harmony, and Molly Babin took it on as a project last year. It was one of the there was an opportunity for some artists to gain a little bit of work through a program that worked with a number of different like nonprofits, and anyway, kind of artists would pitch their project, and it was a interesting way for them to kind of like get a bit of a gig, but they each took a different kind of artistic project on. Anyway, Molly's project was diving deep into women in music and locally. It was really great to see, so many different artists, and those that might be like more popular on the stage that might be what commonly recognized around here, and then some others who might play kind of like me too, right? We're not a whole lot of gigs. Like as you can tell probably from the last song, like I'm not often doing the pub rounds, it doesn't always go over quite so great. But, no discredit to those who also do the pub rounds, because she also had some of those artists on too. And like, it was nice, like mix of generations and like women of all ages, but did a bit of both of like each one would get a spotlight, which would kind of share 3 different songs that they wrote or wanted to sing, and also did this series called One Question, where she asked all of the women the same question and then compiled their answers together. And it was really interesting to see, because, sometimes it was so funny. A couple of them where she would ask one question and everybody's saying the same thing, So in some cases there was like diverging answers, but like as there would be, but like it was really cool to also see some patterns, So I thought it was a really, really interesting project, and it's definitely worth a watch. So if you're like Facebook searching, Open Doors, Women in Harmony.
Women in Harmony.
Yeah.
Shout out to Molly Babin for kicking
Great
butt on
job.
that.
Yeah.
She's a doll.
Yeah.
She
And a
is.
great performer herself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And her partner is equally phenomenal.
Yes,
dude,
yeah.
Danny.
Totally.
Danny's a
Dane's
hell
been
of
on
a
the
guy,
scene
too.
for a while too.
He was on not that long ago. He's a hell of a songwriter.
Yeah.
And singer.
Yeah.
He's got a great different
He's got
sound
such a
to him.
distinct voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. Some more tunes?
Sure. Okay. Any requests?
Yeah. You have a list.
I have a list. Hold on, let me pull it out of my arse. What did I do already? Oh yeah, there we go. Here we go with the short-term memory problem. The new Gravity. I haven't done one that one in a while. What did I practice? Oh yeah, this is a song. So now I know. I just noticed a little bit of a trend. I'm doing all the songs in the same chord pattern. I do write others, but I'll sing those in a bit. This is a song called Wishing Well. It's about being careful it's about wishes in 2 folds. One, being careful what you wish for. So if oh man, I really wish that like the whole world would just stop and I had a little more time on my hands. How many people have actually legit wished for that? And then last year they'd be like, oh, but not maybe really. Or like, oh, I wish I had a new car, but you don't really want to like write your car off to get it, So just careful what you wish for sometimes, because, sometimes wishes come true. They can be powerful things. So you never know the method by which they're coming. So think about them before you, are willing something into being. But also it's also the other side of wishes that like intent and action. If you have good intent and you have faith and whatever it is, then just drill in on it and let the wish do its thing. So it's a bit of both of those sides of wishes, called Wishing Well. A penny in a well, first star of the night. 4:44 on your digital clock, I wish I may with all my might. Come what will, come what may, what we know not how. So you best be careful and you best pay mind when you're casting wishes all over the place. And you might want to mind your space and take your time. And before you speak, give those words a taste. For it's likely you will be get it. As much as you want it, you don't want to regret it. Have you faith? Have you will? Have you faith? Have you will? And wishes, they come well in unexpected ways. Some unfold over years and years, and others just show up that day. Come what will, come what may, what we know not how. And so you best be careful and you best pay mind when you're casting wishes all over the place. And you might want to mind your space and take your time. And before you speak, give those words a taste. For it's likely you will be get it. As much as you want it, you don't want to regret it. Have you faith? Have you will? 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 Thank you.
I love all these songs.
Thanks.
They're so nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're very well written, played
Thank
out. That's great. The great harmonies, everything. They're very well-rounded songs.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem at all. Everybody at home seems to be enjoying them.
Oh,
Everybody
nice.
in the room seems to be enjoying them.
Nice. Yes, thank you for coming out.
Yes. Thank you, people, for being here, hanging out. You got a cousin?
Yeah, I got 2 cousins here now.
2 cousins.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Yvette is actually originally a North Sider.
I am a North
So
Sider.
she's back on the North Side tonight.
North Side for life. Yes, I migrated over to the Sydney side as a teenager. But yeah, I'm a North Sider.
You're a North Sider
I
at
love
heart.
it over here. I do. Yeah. So so I'm really grateful to be back here. And then I got a million cousins around. Some of them might be tuning in at home. Who knows?
Yeah, I tried to keep the Mondays at Duke's as North Side as possible.
Yeah.
Mike was the only one that really broke off that.
No,
mold.
and he's Coxie, so he's like halfway.
Yeah, he's
Kinda.
not that far. He's
Yeah,
like 10 minutes.
he's like Westmount now, I think. But
Yeah.
he's not. Yeah, he splits the difference.
Close enough. We made him honorary for the night.
Honorary
I said,
North Sider.
I'm not even a North Sider. I'm a Sydney guy.
You're a
I'm
transplant.
a transplant.
Right.
That's right. I just got my papers a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
Like I can go out in public and nobody try to fight me now.
Did you roll them up?
No. Just those people from Sydney Mines.
Now, my mother was from Sydney Mines. It's easy now.
No, I'm just
I
throwing
grew-
jokes at the room back there. Right. It's kind of your room. I guess that could be nice. I love
Yeah.
this place. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just a comfortable atmosphere when you're
This
in
is
here.
a
and
beautiful room, I have to say. This is my first time in this bar, and I think.
it didn't always look like this. Duke just did a whole lot of renovations in here, so
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's very,
I was like,
nice.
the inside doesn't match the outside. I like it. Like, I walked in, I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like you said, the outside. You go, I know Duke has plans.
It's all it'll one thing at a time. You know, my inside is much better than the outside too. And so they're like, that is the way it is.
Just, you see the joke.
Never judge a book by
You see
its
the
cover.
joke in the movies where it's like an old camper in the middle of the woods, and they go in and it's like the Taj Mahal. It's all painted black. Absolutely. Why not? Right. Do it. I think you should retouch the moose on the front, though. I think black, but then put the moose back up because the moose is like the signature.
Duke's Moose.
Yeah. Where's Duke's at? Place with the giant moose on the front of it. Can't miss it in Sydney
You
Mines.
could put a giant something else too. I suppose.
I don't know. Just I always knew Duke's place was the place with the giant moose still on the outside of it, which goes back to the liquor store days. Is this?
When they would when the brewery or the rep would give you like stuff to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was originally the liquor store. This
Was the liquor
the government store. Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was like, how when you're like in a bar and then like the Moosehead rep will give you like a plaque for the wall or whatever. They just did for the outside. That was my assumption.
No, this was the beer store.
Oh.
That's where you came and got your liquor.
I moved away before I was old enough to buy booze legally. Yeah.
Somebody else was coming here to buy it.
Yeah. Why would they were buying it over North City probably.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God, like downstairs of the French Club years ago. So I worked upstairs for several years with a friend of mine. We would book shows. I used to say she was Batman, I was Robin. Anyway, we downstairs was like, you know, just your neighborhood club, you know, VLTs and like regulars and all the like. But like on Sunday mornings, they still had it as a like kind of like unofficially men's only. They called it choir practice. And they the fellas with the wives would go off to church and the men would go to choir practice at the, you know, into the draft. Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, 10
That made me
o'clock,
think
getting
of
into the
that. I'm like,
draft, waiting
and
to
then didn't that used to be the Thistle years ago? They wouldn't allow women in. Imagine.
how the
Sales
times
they were
have
missing out on.
changed.
Yes, how the times thankfully have changed.
Yes, absolutely. Play us another song.
Sure.
Get out your cheat sheet,
You
Cole's
know my
notes.
cheat sheet. This is a song I wrote about noticing music from different places and being able to kind of tune into the vibe, pick up on the vibe. I'm not sure quite what I'm trying to say here,
So
but like,
this was like pretty well written about Chandler's.
yeah, no, actually it wasn't. It's
that
like,
was Chandler's.
yeah, that's kind of true. But I'm kind of thinking of more how like, if you think of like Halifax rock, who do you think of? Like Sloan and like
Matt Mays.
Super Friends
Yeah.
and Matt Mays, and but you think of a sound kind of, right? Like so, and then if you think of like kind of West Coast pop, I think of like New Pornographers, and I think of like, you know, that kind of like synthy kind of and kind of quirky. Or if I think of like Appalachian music, I think of like, you know, like old timey fiddle, and you know, so like places kind of had. And if you think of the Muscle Shoals sound, you think like soul and
Yeah.
like the mud in it, you know. So it's like different places really have, you know, I think Cape Breton too, there's like the Cape Breton tunes, if you're thinking of the tunes anyway, fiddle wise, like you can kind of hear that. So anyway, and I'll tell a fun story first about Festival Club if I could. So I work for Celtic Colors, and for those of you that have ever been to Festival Club, you'll know what I mean. It's pretty like alive, and everybody in the room is happy. My friend used to describe it as, it's like you're in a different country and everybody's happy. But anyway, this one night, and for those of you that have never been, it's basically like this pub-style show, because there's like tables and you can drink and kind of mull about and talk and stuff, but it's jammed. It's at the Hall of the Clans of in the Gaelic College. For a number of years it was anyway. Before that it was in different places. But anyway, but for the longest time it's been at the Hall of the Clans of the Gaelic College. And so after all the concerts would finish, that would sort of be the after-hours party Buddy McDonald hosts, and it would go from about 11 p.m. until about 3 in the morning. Breakfast was served next door in the Mackenzie Hall as of 1:30. You could walk over and get some breakfast, and like the music would be just great. It would be just like a rotation of the various artists that were playing. You never really would, well, the public wouldn't know who was coming on. And the real magic happened, sorry for everybody out there that wasn't allowed behind the stage, but for those of us that were like working or were artists, because it was the green room, like kind of in behind the stage. And that was when the public doors shut, the green room kept going, and like people would just play tunes for the sake of playing it. And it'd be in this like, you know, not much bigger than this stage, you know, with a ton of people crammed in and just playing the tunes, and the repertoire that they would share would be just amazing. Anyway, I'm at the club one night, and it's like still going. It's still like a full packed house. It didn't close down for the night yet. And it's just a beautiful room. The people on the stage are like Nordic fiddler's block, so it's really atmospheric and kind of lilty. Their style of fiddling is like Shetland fiddling and like the kind of more like Nordic connection. So it's like really, it's a bit more atmospheric, I find, like less kind of chippy choppy. And not that I don't love chippy choppy before all the before all the
You hear that? She don't like a chippy choppy.
No, I love
Can't
the
have
chippy
that.
choppy, but I'm just describing that like kind of Nordic fiddler's block. It was very like lilty and anyway, very kind of classical sounding almost, but not quite. Anyway, and that was happening on the stage, and the whole room was transfixed. And then you walked around the corner, and in the hallway where you would go to smoke would be this, because like, you know, those are the days where everybody, even people who didn't smoke, smoked, and we'd go outside. Anyway, in the corridor of the hallway was this whole Zydeco jam with like Dirk Powell and David Greeley and like a whole bunch of people who would like playing the like Cajun style kind of Acadian thing, like they had like there was nothing else going on in the world except for this hop and jam. And then you walk into the green room itself, which is a few feet away, and there's a full-on Cape Breton tune session happening, like around the piano, like driving her. So it's like, oh my God, I just went into 3 different complete worlds. I went from like Norway to like Louisiana to like St. Anne's in like 50 feet. Like, how did this happen, you know?
Power
But
of music
it's
and
the
the
power
of
of,
the festival.
yes, this is true. The power of music was really kind of what inspired me to write this song. In that, like, you know, like sometimes if you can't just actually physically get to go somewhere, and I wrote this pre-COVID, but hey, applicable then too. If you can't really get to go there, just put on the tunes from that neck of the woods, and it's the next best thing. So. I've been all Baton Rouge, Lafayette. I just wanna go south for the weekend. Without the gas in the tank, with the time at your arm, without the passport and luggage. How can one jet for a spell fill their heart with whatever it is that wherever would give it? Oh, I dive right in, diving into the songs, drives me right up to the soul of it, and you've gone nowhere, and yet there you are. 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 I've been craving that old-time mountain tune fare. There's just something about it, such a familial, resonant air, like another branch off of the trunk we grew out of. And I'll dive right in, diving into the songs, drives me right up to the soul of it. And you've gone nowhere, and yet there you are. 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 I've been all odds, grapes of wrath. I've been digging that West Coast vibe, new pornographers. Without the gas in the tank or the time at your arm, without the snow tires or luggage. How can one jet for a spell fill their heart with whatever it is that wherever would give it? Oh, I dive right in, diving into the songs, drives me right up to the soul of it. And you've gone nowhere, and yet there you are. 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 Thank you.
He's good.
Thanks.
He's good. Dylan back there popping his head along to that one. I'm feeling that one, eh? Yeah. Dylan's here every week, not by choice.
Dylan, you're a great entertainer. I gotta say, I've
Yeah,
seen you.
Dylan.
You're awesome.
Hell of a guy.
Yeah.
He's here every week. I don't know what keeps bringing him back, but he's here every week. I guarantee he's here at Duke's. No, Dylan's a phenomenal guy, and big leap on the countdown this week too, eh? You've made a big jump, man. Good for you. Good for you. His tune caper run
Oh, nice.
went from 29 to 11 or something, wasn't it?
Ooh, on the East Coast Countdown.
On the, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Lots of people voting for it. Maybe now it's got its traction. She's been spinning in the mud. Now she's got her traction. Off we go. Yeah. You needed to be able to put your windows down to listen to it. That's all. I think that's what it was. You just got to put your windows down and feel that Cape Breton air on your face to get that Caper Run tune
There you
in your
go.
blood. Maybe that's why. Maybe number one's coming next for you.
There you go.
Get out
Keep
there and vote
climbing.
for it. Yeah, get out there and vote for us. That's all you got to do. So speaking of published tunes, you do have a Spotify tune.
I have one on Spot. I have a couple actually. The one that I just played is also on Spotify, but that's under Last Minute Rivet, which is Rivet is one of my nicknames. The Rivet, Vetters, all kinds of nicknames. Anyways, but Rivet was one of them.
That's your alter ego band.
And Last Minute Rivet was sort of like I do leave everything to the last minute as a character trait of mine. Anyway, but it was the alter ego name for like kind of like a sort of a band name, but it wasn't like a fixed band per se. It was like, oh, I'm going to write anything that I put out that's going to be like more contemporary sounding than folk, I'll put under that drawer and it will fall under Last Minute Rivet. But then I was not very like, I don't know. I didn't keep churning things out under the Last Minute Rivet moniker, and it just sort of like sat there. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. So hence the like, I was going to put everything out under Yvette. Nobody's going to be surprised if different things are like.
Oh, you just have to go on
you
and
know.
change that name to this and just put it there.
Yeah,
and
I'll
you're good.
re-release it.
Re-releases?
And then maybe, you know, you put it out through CD Baby, and then they like give you after you hit $75 of like download. So if someone went to go and download my song, I would get 90 cents of it. For the 99 cents. Anyway, once what they would kind of accumulate that, or if you go on and stream on Spotify or whatever, it will accumulate the little fractions of cents that you make for every stream. And then once you hit $75, they'll cut you a check. And I recorded that in like 2018 and have not received a $75 check yet. So yeah, small potatoes, but you know, good potatoes nonetheless, I hope.
You're going to be able to buy a coffee.
Right? I was like so happy when I got my first SoCan check. I think it was just $27 or something. I was like, oh my God.
It's an important
like,
fact,
this is
though.
so
Like,
sad.
It's a
But
very important fact to get out there and not stream. I stream myself, but if
Yeah.
I have
I
the
will,
option to
but
go out and
yeah.
physically buy it or buy
Yeah.
a track online or something just to support that
Yeah.
little bit, I do it, and then I'll listen to it 1,000 times on Spotify over and over and over and over again.
What I loved about Spotify's, what I've heard about Spotify, like in terms of pulling, how did they do it? Like it doesn't, it changed the way that they do this, but Wolfpack, the band Wolfpack, did this thing called Sleepify, where they put out 8 silent tracks, and they had a huge following on college radio. And they asked all of their following to like put it on at night, put it on repeat, and then it just would play silent dead air for like all night long, 8 hours of like whatever 40 seconds or whatever it had to be in order to count as a stream. And they had track 1 was Z, track 2 was ZZ, track 3 was ZZZ. It was just like nothing. Anyway, they ended up it changed the way Spotify did this because they were onto them. And they ended up earning 20 grand and played a free tour. I'm like, holy shit, that's brilliant.
Genius.
So anyway, taking a page from their book, so you might not be able to do a silent track, but you could do what you say. You could put all of your favorite local artists on a Spotify playlist and mute it and let it play on replay all night.
I have. It's
you
the
know?
mixtape playlist. It's on Spotify.
There you go. Mute that shit and let it play all night long. And then you got like a whole, while you sleep, you've been earning artists fractions of cents.
Dylan, I'm going to get you 20 cents tonight, buddy.
They're going to get somewhere. They add up.
You're getting
so,
20
you know.
cents tonight, too. You're
Yeah,
both on
there
I'll
we
get 20 cents
go.
a piece tonight in playlist.
But spread the word and stream. Yeah, but yeah.
Sure, but no, buy it.
But yeah,
Buy
I
it.
do have, so Last Minute Rivet, I have that one. And an En route that I sang earlier, I recorded it, but did not unleash it onto the world yet. So that's next to come. And then this one is probably the one you're referring to, Rooted. This is called Rooted. You can look it up under Billie Yvette. I'm rooted in myself. There is a cord that runs through the earth and in between my thoughts and bones. Deep in its stance, unwavering, not of its surface. It's not of wood, it's it's not of stone. In you it is as such as it is in each of us. Your core and not your baggage, not your actions, thoughts, or tones. Unnamed, unexplained, unchartered, unchanged, underneath the expressions and lessons that you've gained. In times when the rivers of life sweep you off your feet, when the ground beneath you seems to fall away, in times when the reason and logic escape all those methods you use to keep your faith, through all of those moments, the rise and fall of hope, through the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs and waves, it's through you, the true you, the deepest, strongest core of you. It's rooted and it stays. Unnamed, unexplained, unchartered, unchanged, underneath the expressions and lessons that you've gained. It's rooted. You're rooted.
Awkward silence. Everybody's like, she gonna, she,
It's the hanger ending, right? Yeah.
I think she's done. Should we clap? I was waiting for the first person to clap, and then you start again. Just
Yeah, because sometimes that happens, that little kind of like suspenseful pause. But no, that was the
So yes, that could be
half step close. Yeah.
that could be on. So put that on your playlist.
Yeah, thanks.
put it
That'd be
on
great if you
repeat.
could. Yeah,
Go to bed,
repeat
mute your
overnight,
stereo, mute your
along
Spotify.
with all your other favorite artists.
That's right.
I've
Trying.
actually had artists that are favorite artists of mine, the Outside Track. So Maddie Rankin, many people might know her, and there's 5 of them. They're from all different parts of the world, really, because like Ailey, I think, is living in Scotland, and I think Fiona's back in Ireland, and then anyway, and Maddie's back here, but she was across the country. Anyway, it's a beautiful band. They're super fun, and they put together a Spotify playlist of their favorite folk artists, and they have impeccable taste, and they included me on that, which I thought was very nice. Yep. So
That's great.
Yep.
Like I said, I have mine. CB Mike has the local
Yes.
playlist.
Yep.
So CB Mike has CB.
That's good to know. Okay.
And I have the Maritimes.
Okay.
I'll try and get everybody in the Maritimes that I can think of.
Yeah.
That pops up in my head. Throw on there. So
Fun. I'll have to
gotta
go check it
support
out.
the local sound. Yeah. That's it.
Do you have it on a Apple Music playlist?
No.
Damn.
Took me long enough to curate this one. It doesn't matter Apple Music or Spotify, you're still getting paid shit.
No, I know. I just like that tends to be the platform I use.
Yeah.
Just
No, everything's on Spotify. That's why I can't change now. 'Cause
no, it's all good. It's
I
all good.
have all my playlists on there. I can't transfer them back. I can't remember half the songs.
No,
All right.
I'll have to go check that out.
So do you think we'll do one more?
One more.
One more. You're there.
Ooh. What topic do we want to hear about, folks?
What
Category wise, what do we got?
Well, jeez.
Did I do that one? Ooh.
Actually, you know what? We got enough time. Do you want to do a tribute from where
Oh,
you?
we could do a tribute.
You can do a tribute. You have some tributes in you,
I still
and then you
I
can do
still
an
have-
original as well.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll do both.
Put her on the spot here.
I'll do both. Yeah. Tribute first. Tribute to, there's so many artists that I love. This one is Sarah Harmer, who wrote this about, I love it anyway. It's just about, true friendship and just sort of, or just being there for each other. Well, you thank me all the time, but now it's my turn. 'Cause truly a word of gratitude so do can't go unheard. And it made me feel better to have you there in my corner. My eyes cast so low, my face could not have been drawn longer. Well, I know you've been impressed. You've seen me at my best. But oh, how it hurts when I can't hide my words. But thank you for carrying on, for playing with me. And this song, it made me feel better. We sat it out like some passing bad weather. Well, life is like kid boxing gloves, the kind blown up with air that are put away after play and get limp just lying there. But you knew they'd fill up again. You gave me your shoulder, and I got up in the ring because I had you there in my corner. Da 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 da.
So Sarah Harmer goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sarah's a great writer.
So before we do the last tune, which
Okay.
is an Yvette tune,
It is.
is a written tune. I actually had somebody message me and say, "Can you?" I know we touched on what makes you songwrite,
Mm-hmm.
but who's your inspiration? Like
Ooh.
who's that person?
Oh dear God! Just one? Do I pick just one?
Okay, you pick
That's
one,
like
yeah.
saying, like, do you have a favorite food?
Food.
Do I love food? I love food. I've got, gosh, a number of artists I think that inspire me.
Let's do this. Let's do a local person,
Ooh,
a
one.
Canadian,
Okay.
and overall.
Bobby St. Marie. And oh my God, how can I just pick one local person? Jesus Christ. Well, he's local. We are in God's country after all.
That's right.
Oh my God.
It's hard to pick around here because there's
It
so
is.
many.
There's
damn
so
good
many talented
songwriters.
people. There's so many talented people. I love Carolyn Boudreau stuff. I usually give a shout out to her 'cause we don't hear her often enough. And then overall, oh man, there's so many. John Prine. I love John Prine.
Good old John Prine.
Yeah, there's so many. Could I like list a bunch? No. There are so many.
We'd be here all
And
night.
then if we would be here all night, and then like, yeah, there's so many artists anyway that I really do admire, and like we were talking before about like how we love good songwriting. That's one of the reasons why I love Buffy. Like, you know, just really timely anthems, and really like a few of the things that I've been working on in terms of the songs that weren't quite ready to come out of the oven tonight. They had to go back in. Still a little batter on the toothpick of those songs, but anyway, they are similar, like kind of commentary about like life in the world right now, and and Buffy's songs are a lot like that. They're just like, they're very timely, but they're also honest. And I was listening to her the other day. I'm like, she's still coming up with like great things. Like, yeah. And she doesn't age. You know,
doesn't
she's
age.
like
She's
ageless
got it.
Buffy, like who I remember from Sesame Street. You know, like anyway. So yeah. So one
that's
more
it.
of mine.
One more.
This is a song about me being. I'll have to sing this in the past tense, so I don't just like sing it and then like manifest more of the same stuff. But like, it's about me being very like careless with my finances and slovenly at home, and like really, having the old dose of humility be served up on the regular. Humble pie with whipped cream pride. I've come to my senses, it's stuck to my sides. A healthy feed of sickeningly sweet humble pie. The fruit of my labor, completely misguided, through no one else's fault but my own. Humbled through being a wee bit short-sighted, I shifted to find how much I'd grown, or how much I thought I'd grown. Sitting here in probably the only clean corner of my home, sipping on a cold coffee and wondering, is this today's? And then I'm thinking about things I thought about too many times before, and I've written about maybe 7 times, even more. I pause to sit here for a spell and drink from my wishing well. For supper tonight, I'll eat my words and finally dine on just desserts. Humble pie with whipped cream pride. I've come to my senses, it's stuck to my side. A healthy feed of sickeningly sweet humble pie. My tenure of careless, I thought, had long since expired. Left with everything I claimed to have owned. Something that's not quite blame, but is exclusive just the same. In turning my redundant life around, the bread I just won landed butter side down. Humble pie with whipped cream pride. I've come to my senses, it's stuck to my sides. A healthy feed of sickeningly sweet humble pie. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, Yvette. Billie
Thank you.
Yvette.
Thank you.
Whatever we're going to call you tonight.
Call me whatever you want.
Whatever you want. It was Billie Yvette on the poster. We'll go with
Yeah,
Billie
we'll
Yvette
give us,
tonight.
we'll still roll with that because that's the page where everyone will find me at,
That's
and
right.
then people who know me as Yvette, and they'll just call me that to my face, and that's okay.
They follow you on it anyway. So if you're on Facebook, please go give her a follow and a like
Yes,
so
please.
you can see when she does pop up and play somewhere. And
Yeah, I'll put it on there.
her tune on Spotify and CD.
Yes.
Just get out there and listen to some live music and support local music.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing. Again, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for hosting the mixtape. I think it's a great
problem.
series.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
It's fun getting up here, and I can't wait till next week when I can't wait till next week. When I'm sad about next week. Next week is my last weekend at Duke's.
Oh.
For a little bit. I'll come.
Everybody better tune
I'll be
in then.
back. Duke's too good to me here. But next week we're going back to the regular scheduled time of the mixtape, and we're going back to 9 o'clock start.
Ooh.
Because the COVID police let us have a little bit more fun at night.
Oh.
We can be open a little bit later now, so we're gonna go right back to it next week. So
I
we'll
kind of
start-
like the early time slot because, like, you know,
Oh, no,
I'm
no,
lame.
no.
I'm lame.
Still got to be home by midnight,
Oh yeah.
right? Right. You'll turn into a pumpkin if you're not home by midnight.
I
so
will.
Like this, we still got the midnight rule in there, so it's still good. But no, we're gonna go back to 9 o'clock next week. And for the first time in a long time, I'm going to have somebody sitting on stage wearing a hat aside myself, and it's going to be Mike Cavanaugh, who's coming on. Most people know Mike Cavanaugh for playing the pubs and the bars, and he has original tunes, but Monday night is nothing but. We're going to sit here and go through his album that he just released.
Awesome.
And
That's pretty cool.
hopefully Mike's going to bring some so that people
Yeah.
here can actually buy a copy, and that's the most important thing, buying a physical copy of a local musician's
Agreed.
talents. All right. Thank you so much.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
people,
Thank
for being
you.
here. Thank you for everybody watching at home. See you next week.
Thank you all.